Hey, what's up YouTube? Sal from Sal's Corner. So you saw the previous video, we got this all polished up, we got it back on the car. So if you want to take a look up here, right? I mean, she's all butter smooth. This will just touch on one point, so if you want to just get right here. So the more prep work you do, obviously the higher polish that you would get. For myself, this is all I wanted. And then if you look at the face, right, so we painted all the intercooler lines in between. It looks pretty good. But that leads us on to the next project. It's getting closer and closer to race time for us here in Minnesota, so follow me. So Deliverance needs some new brakes. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna give Deliverance some new brakes. So I got some tools set up over here. Got the impact set up over here. And so we're gonna replace these. And this will also be kind of a, I would say just a R&D, right? So back here we have new brakes from R1. They look really good, but we'll check the performance on them. So these are obviously the rears. We'll see how far me and my daughter can get tonight. So that's who's videoing me, is my sweet daughter. Good prep for her, so she might get her hands dirty tonight as well, because once we're done with Deliverance here up on the lift, then we get to do her E46 BMW as well, and get some new brakes on that. So with that being said, she's just starting to learn the camera over there, the old GoPro. So basically what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna take the rim off. Obviously you want your vehicle stabilized. Not everyone has a lift. That's the benefit of me. So we're gonna get the rim off, and then you'll see that this is very short and sweet. So not really anything tricky when it comes to disc brakes. I mean, if you watch the Civic video that we just made the other day, yeah, drum brakes, whole different deal. So either way, let's get these rims and tires off and we'll keep on rocking. Okay, impact, 17 mil. If you don't have an impact, then you're gonna wanna do this while it's on the ground, at least break these lugs loose, 17 mil, okay? But if you do have an impact, then it makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to be that close.
I just want to get all the angles.
Okay. So these should just kind of pull right off because they haven't been on here except for the winter. Okay, so now we're at the brake. So the first thing we have to do is we have to take this dust cover off. There's a few bolts in the back. Yeah, so let's just get to it. So if I grab a big enough screwdriver, this always pops off of here. There's really, they say if you put it in here and you squeeze inward, it should pop off. I don't know if I have a big enough one.
That's what she said.
That always pops off. That's your not make so much noise brake piece. Okay. Now that that's off, let's take a gander back here. So, I don't know. Just trying to think about that light. Maybe we can get that light back here. So on the back of your caliper, you're gonna have these two little dust covers. So those gotta come off. Then you gotta find the right Allen wrench that goes in there. I got one earbud in so Kelly can play all of her awesome teenager music for me. It's really awesome. About to break out in a dance. So once we find the right size Allen, as you can tell, I got a smidge of them in here. Nope. All right, I'll find the right Allen. So once I do that, we'll keep going. All right, so 7 mil, that's what we're looking for. Goes into those little parts that we took off anyways. So open the cover, 7 mil, put it in there. So these are the guide rods for your calipers. So by undoing this, we should be able to release the caliper from the bracket. And then we're going to tie the caliper up. Okay, so we're just gonna get in here real cute like. Obviously the light isn't working very well. So anyways, here's my guide bolt, and then right here is where it screws into the back side of the caliper, on top and bottom. I wish I need to get more light in here. Here, hold on one second. I'll see if I can grab a light. Okay, let's try this again. So with the right light, so right here is what we're looking at. Let's see if I can set this in here, even somewhat so you can kind of see. So this is my guide bolt right here. So it screws into the top and bottom side. So once this is out just enough, you can use a screwdriver back on this back side and kind of help push it through. And then once that's like that, here, Kel. She's over here playing with puppies. Okay, then you should be able to just grab this and it kind of wiggles itself out. So here is your guide bolt. Okay, so before we reinstall this, you can see the kind of the scoring on there. So we're gonna clean that up, and then most of these kits come with like a lube that you can put in there. You know, it's not scratched, it's just some broke down lube. Now we got that one, so now we gotta get the bottom one. Same thing. We just want to make sure that this is nice and smooth before we reinstall it, and that'll be a little bit later on. Okay, so at this point, basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull towards you, which should help decompress your piston. And then once that happens, there's your assembly. Okay, so there's your pads, all that fun stuff, which these ones, as you can tell, are pretty down there. But the biggest thing at this point is you don't want to put a lot of stress, Kel. Like, come back here. You want to look this way. All right, so you got this brake line, right? So we want to secure this up out of the way. So at this point, you take 3 zip ties. Okay, we can take this front pad out, because we don't need that. We can pop the back brake pad out. Okay, it just pulls out. I clicked on it. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to take my nifty little zip tie attachment here. We're just going to route it up through the top. Okay. Then we're going to just go over this suspension. We're just going to loop it. Make it taut. Now at this point, this to kind of keep the tension off of the brake. So obviously this is 3 zip ties. So we just kind of want that out of the way, right? But we don't want to crush that. So now at this point, we're going to take this bracket off. I think it's a 16 mil. We'll find that out in a second. So we're just going to kind of set this right there. Bam. We'll take that off. Let's see if I was right. 16 or 18, I believe. So it is a 16. Okay, if you have a breaker bar, it's going to work a lot better. This is on there a lot tighter than anything else is.
That's what she said.
Okay, so on the top bolt, I wasn't able to get a ratchet on it. So, same thing, 16 mil. As you can see, the bracket's starting to move, it's starting to loosen up. So one of the things about Unified, right, is we teach this to our youngins. This wouldn't be the first time Kelly's done brakes. It's just gonna give her, some experience. So anyways, there's your bracket. Nonetheless, we're, 5 minutes in, Kel? Nah, we'll say 10. By the time I got the right wrenches and stuff, maybe 10 minutes to get to this point right here. At this point right here, like I said, we're only doing the rotor and the pad. So now we gotta get this Allen out, which I can almost guarantee is not this size. No, way smaller. I have to get the right size again. Was it? Oh no, I was stripping it. All right. So that was not the right size. Felt like it was spinning. You can stop recording again. Once you get the right size, they talk about, you can put fluid on here to try to break it free, but most of the time, it's got a size on it. 6 mil. So 7 mil for the guide pin, 6 mil for the top. And then, as you can tell, we're gonna have to pound on that a little bit. So I'm not exactly sure this size is gonna work, but we're gonna try. No, so wait one. I'll get a bigger hammer. I'm right here. See that? Okay, so if you get, these rotors and pads, you saw the pads, right? They're down to nothing. So if the rotor doesn't want to come off, right? I got new rotors. So dead blows are always a good option. So if you see now, based off of the impacts on the rotor, we were wailing on it. It's close.
Today, Junior?
Oh, she's so close. All right, give me one more minute of wailing on this thing, we'll get her off.
That's what she said?
Okay, so it's off. So now at this point, right, we're gonna clean up this hub to hopefully, as you can see, there's a bunch of rust that was holding that on, right? Parking brake still's got plenty of pad life on it, right? We don't use the parking brake very often, but good time to check that out. We don't see any cracks. No, wait a second. All right, so there might be some cracks up on this side, but we don't use that. So now at this point, what we're gonna do is just clean this up. So I'm gonna use some brake clean this all up a little bit. So here we use red can brake cleaner, dual purpose. It is the non-environmental friendly brake cleaner, and it also kills spiders, which I'm not a fan of. And when I say kills them, I mean it kills them.
Get back! Eight-legged brake!
All right, look at all that yummy, huh? That's why we buy brake cleaner by the case. You want to go to the first cabinet, you can grab another can. You don't have to stop recording. Were you able to find it? Well, as a side note too, make sure your parking brake isn't on. I'm not saying, just saying.
Brad's gonna go to edit this and show these cute little pictures of me going like this.
Oh yeah. Mmm. So sometimes, I mean, this is why you pay someone big bucks to put your brakes on for you. So as you can tell, I could use a steel wheel or something like that, try to clean this up a little bit more. But I'm kind of at the point right now that these brakes are gonna work so well that when it takes time to, well, they're gonna be coming off soon anyways. I'm gonna snap these axles. Horsepower. So we want horsepower. Directly to this area right here. Not you though. Your E46 gotta stay mellow. No turbos for you. Alright. Take a look at that. Everything else looking alright. Gotta get me some.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's gonna suck. So chances are, if everything goes well, I'm gonna break these axles this year. When I break the axles, I'm gonna replace the parking brake, the hub assembly, so all this will be done. Not to mention you're gonna see another video soon because I'm gonna buy 2 new KW rear shocks. KW is a really good brand, as you can see, right? You can see the adjusters and everything in here. So we'll get those all cleaned up too. But I gotta get these first. So, and we just wanted to do a little DIY, right? So if you drive your 335 like, you know, your mom, then maybe these wouldn't be so fused on. But here in the Allison family, I guess we just drive everything like we stole it, so we got a little hot. Okay, so item number 1. All right, so we got our new brake. Ringer, ringer, ringer. The first thing I can notice is that it did not come with a new set screw. So Kelly's gonna multitask right here. Once we set that in there, it shouldn't fall off. Shouldn't. And what did I do with that screw cap? Oh, right there. So what was it? 7 mil on back, 6 mil up front?
Yes.
So we are gonna use, BMW would really frown upon this, that you have to use a new set screw every time you do this. But we're not gonna. We're just gonna ram her home, hope for the best. If you're getting a consensus how my Monday night's going, it's going like that. All right. So now at this point, we can hear a little scrapey, right? So that means it's hitting something. Oh, I gotta look at this shield here. Oh, see, so much better. So much better when it doesn't hit this dumb dust shield. How's that sound? Good? Okay, so at this point, just reverse installation. Put the bracket back on, the caliper back on. If you don't have a caliper compressor, I'll show you this quick. You can stay here, Cal. Okay, so no really huge shout outs, right? But this is a Schwaben piece. So for all you BMW lovers out there, ECS Tuning, I buy lots of stuff from ECS Tuning, so half of my BMW majority parts and tools are from ECS. So this is just your very, very basic caliper compressor. It's like, I don't know, 15 bucks or something. Helps you out quite a bit to make sure your caliper is completely compressed before you reinstall. You're gonna have all those brand new thick pads on there. So yeah, so now at this point, we're gonna reinstall this. And I'll see you in a few minutes once that's all done. All right, so obviously you got some clips from the first night of taking Deliverance apart here. So I'm just gonna kind of recap on a few items, touch base on a few items, and then we'll get going. So basically, we have all the brakes off. As you can see, they've seen better days. You know, just watching the boys on TV. You got an old Deliverance here who definitely, well, she needs a bath. So when you take your brakes off your 335, it's a Euro thing. I mean, these are pretty, seen better days. So when my daughter was helping me, she kept saying, like, Dad, we definitely need to make sure that we keep these, you know, my calipers gold. So I'm gonna work on that tonight. You know, everything's already off. I got all the parts. I do have more parts coming, and I'll kind of explain that while we take a walk around the vehicle. So when you take all of this off, so again, the only tools that you need to do this job is, so for the rear, you're gonna use a 16 millimeter socket. You're gonna use a 6 millimeter that holds the rotor onto the hub. And a 7 millimeter for your guide pins, which are these little guys right here. And so one little piece of advice, so on the rear of the vehicle, these are the same size. On the front, you have two different sizes. So let me just stick that there and stick this here. So your shorter is up top, your longer is down bottom. So just keep mind of that when you're doing that. As you can see that, you know, Deliverance has got some KWs in it. We're gonna touch base on that in a second. The only difference between the front and the rear is that these bolts are 18s. The bolts that hold the bracket onto the vehicle are 16s in the rear, 18s up front. And this is how I suspend it. You know, you can buy zip ties at any store. I just zip tie them up. Keeps tension off of your brake line. And we'll kind of step beyond that now. So this is the rear, okay? Even with the parking brake off, always make sure to have your parking brake off. It will help. This one was the worst of all of them. Even with the parking brake off, it took some time to get this one off. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean all this area up. I'm gonna clean the calipers up. I'm gonna paint those. But if we take a look up here, this, well, here, let me go like this. You can kind of see it. Yeah, this KW shock needs to be rebuilt. So I got new shocks coming. I'm just gonna put some Bilsteins in here temporarily, and then I'm gonna send these back to KW so they can be rebuilt. So Kelly kept saying, you gotta keep it gold, gotta keep it gold. So here's my brackets. Course of action for tonight. I work during the day, so tonight where I want to get deliverance to is basically I want to get everything painted. I'd like to get the brackets back on and get the brakes mounted. So I bought 2 Bilsteins, so I'm gonna take this one out. I'm gonna send that one back to get rebuilt too. It's not leaking, but in my thought process, anything to do with the car, if I were to replace this hub, I'm replacing the other hub. If I replace a headlight bulb, I replace both, so on and so forth. You just do both at the same time. And the only difference is, as we can tell, right? So just like what I'm going to do, there's some gold fleck in here, which means that these were painted on the car, which is fine. You know, I would say that the best way to paint these would be to actually disassemble them, and then you can buy a much better paint and you actually bake them in your oven. It's not a muffin, but different type of paint, a little harder, lasts a little longer.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
But so yeah, so there's kind of the walk around. Just kind of wanted to show you guys where I'm at. So again, if you need to replace brakes on your 335, N54, N55 is probably very, very similar. Basically, it's for the rears, 2 16mm bolts that hold the bracket. Then you have a 6mm to get the guide pins out, 7mm to get your rotor off. If you're not replacing rotors, say you just needed to do pads, then you would you don't have to take your rotor off. Basically, the best course of action is you pull the pad, you take the whole caliper once you get it to this point with the rotor on. You would pull that caliper towards yourself, which decompresses the piston, and this whole assembly will slide out of the bracket. So you don't have to take the bracket out, in which case you'd just be looking at the 2 6mm guide pins that that go in there. And then, so I got parts coming for this. So I talked about the shocks already. I already have the brakes here. You know, like I said, I mean, this is kind of a see how well they do, right? So this was from R1. So we're gonna try their brakes out. And then I also, as we can tell, this, I mean, this has seen better days. This has seen better days. So we're gonna replace these components. Everything else looks good for now. The goal for myself is next year I'll get in deeper into the suspension. Maybe this summer we'll see how it goes, but nonetheless, I want this functional. I want this piece to be stable. got the new shocks. We're gonna send the old ones out, and then maybe a few little treatsies here and there for this guy. So with that being said, the next time I'm gonna do a walk around after I get everything cleaned up, and I'm gonna get everything cleaned up, and then I'm gonna paint the calipers. Once the calipers are all painted, I'm gonna do another walk around, so you'll see that. I'm not gonna have Brad speed through me painting and cleaning stuff, but some of the videos he may. So when it gets to the suspension, that'll be a video that I video the whole thing to get the rear shocks out of the car, so you guys can see that. If some of the other treats show up, then that'll be a separate video as well. So you guys just keep watching. I am now going to get this all cleaned up and do a little bit of little paint. All right, so I just wanted to do a recap. So we have the brakes on, just words of wisdom. I already talked about the tools you need. You don't need a lift. You don't need any, well, you know, there's really no special tools, right? 16 and 18 millimeter, 6 and 7 millimeter Allen. And so I've already covered that. These suck to put on, FYI. And now we're just going to cover like a few words of wisdom. So let's go back here. So I didn't reconnect this back yet, and I didn't video me taking this part out. So your sensor that goes into your brake routes through. I mean, if we can get back here, you can see that this little cable routes up. There's all these little clips that hold it into place. Make sure you're looking at the clips. And then if I peel this out of here, there is the white sensor, which is your brake sensor. It just unplugs, you plug the new one in, and you're good to go. The sensors I pulled out were good. And then on this side, I guess I could have walked around the other way. Same thing, it goes up to the little box. The box clips open, you take the sensor out, put the new sensor in. Additionally, the pads on this, I mean, you saw the brakes. I mean, the brakes were well overdue. So one more word of wisdom is, because the pads were wore down so far, when I had to compress the pistons, right? So I had to compress all the pistons. That's why there's floor dry there. Okay, so there was too much fluid in the system, pushed out the reservoir, and so now I made a little messy on the floor. So keep an eye on that when you're doing this job. I just wanted to do a quick walk around again, just as a, like, sum everything all up, right? So the brakes are in. I think they look pretty good. Definitely an upgrade from what was in here. Future video coming from me will be talking about getting these shocks out, and then in the previous video I talked about ECS tuning came in clutch, sent out the parts. I got them in just a couple days. I'm looking at this, it fits right, but this is not correct. So I'm gonna see if this one works before I work on turning this one in. I do like this as a larger scoop. The previous factory one that's all busted up here was much smaller. So we're gonna see if I can utilize it, can't utilize it. We'll kind of go from there. Now I'll walk over here. Lots of fun. However, there is some cool stuff coming as well. So again, so here is my new wheel well. Here's the old wheel well. The new one doesn't have this cutout, so I'm just going to cut that out. This new one is already pre-lined, so it shows me where I need to cut. It's not a real big deal. So yeah, so at least these ones are good. And the benefit of buying right from like a BMW factory replacement, comes all with all brand new clips, right? So you can utilize your same screws that you took out, but at least this has the backings. Pretty cool. All right, so with that being said, Sal Unified Racing. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure that you're hitting that like, the subscribe, support your support your local racetrack, support America, and I'll catch you on the next video.